I feel like men like me, like we are the big, strong protectors. We're the reason why some kids and some people don't get fucked with.
Yeah.
And I feel like, that's a part of my culture too, where I let these kids know, like, hey, you're extremely loved, dude. Because I was that kid that go home and get punched in the fucking chest, or called a little bitch. Like, that was how I grew up.
My whole passion and my focus outside of our business that we run together with, our other partners, shout out to those guys, is just because I have it now doesn't mean I'm not going to give back. Like, we're at least can say on the same page with, I'm never going to forget where I came from.
Right. Never. I can't care about your goals more than you care about your goals. If you do, then we got a problem.
Yep.
I believe as the leaders in your profession or in your office, there should be probably an exceptional amount of passion and drive to do better. But I think that anybody that's coming up underneath you or anybody that works alongside you guys, that passion should be contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh.
You are now tuned in to the best roofing podcast in the world.
The Roof Trollz. Here we go, yo.
Roof Trollz, another fun episode with
Jessie
Eli,
Casas.
Angelo, and
we don't even get a second to get ready or nothing like that. We're just kicking right into it, huh?
we've been getting ready.
And also, I'm tired of you. Every time Angelo's on the podcast, he wants to steal my introduction. Fuck that. Roof Trollz, baby, we're back. All right, let's do it. So I'm excited for today because it's one of the rare occasions where we actually get to discuss something outside of roofing, which, as everybody knows, I get excited to not talk about roofing. So I got one of my buddies here, Jesse. And Jesse, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Jessie Casas, and I am not a roofer. And roofing has very little interest to me. I'm a personal trainer. I own a business in Valparaiso, Indiana. It's Bold Strength Fitness. We do personal training, moms, dads, and we take the average athlete and we turn them elite standout players. Into elite standout players. Been in business for 4 years. Started off in a steel mill. I put my 10 years in the mill. I don't get me wrong. I love that work. I love the brotherhood, but I feel like I have much more purpose doing what I do now. So this is what I do. Family man, got 5 kids, married, and yeah, man, I do the damn thing. I'm a hustler. So I think you really got my attention when you had said something about this is about bringing hustlers and people together that are from all walks of life. So here I am, Jessie Casas, guys.
Yeah. So we're looking to take the spotlight. We do on our podcast and kind of shine it on some things that are being done, not necessarily just in our industry, but just being done around us. And your story is fun, and we're going to get into that. But your story is fun because we've known each other for a little bit. The first altercation was really funny too, by the way, which is like we going at it with each other on Instagram. Weren't friends or anything.
So that's how you guys met then?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. We linked up at the gym later on, and then we became friends outside of that and just started communicating a little bit. And what was cool was I remember 4 years ago when he was going to take this leap from the steel mill to going off and doing his own thing as an entrepreneur. We had a conversation, and he just kind of like brain picking with each other. I talked to him a little bit about possibly coming over to sales. I like to, he seemed like a motivated guy, seemed like he would be good at it. But then as we started to develop our relationship, I realized that he was an entrepreneur, but he was just going like a different area. I had no expertise in his field, but he had reached out to me about, I had been working on just commission. So I didn't have a salary to rely on, and he was accustomed to the salary. So when he was making a transition, he was like, well, how is it, like you don't have any money to rely on or anything? And I just remember our conversation. I actually went back and read it too when I invited you on the podcast, but we had like a lot of stuff between us about how like, just taking the leap, just making sure you're passionate about it, and fuck what other people say, because everybody's always gonna have an opinion on it. But you just make sure that it's something that you really want to do, and then you just believe that you're gonna be able to do it, because the money is gonna be there. It's just not gonna be there right out the gate. And you took the leap. But tell people, so like Bold Strength now, you actually know it. Like you got a good following on Instagram, you got a good following on Facebook. People you've kind of like rebranded yourself too. It's no longer that. I'm sure it's a dog mentality. I know Jesse Vega, Brandon Delk, a couple people that I know have worked out with you before, and I myself have worked out with you before. I know you're a psychopath with weights, but aside from that, though, it's not that same gritty dogness now. You've brought a new element that I don't think anybody saw coming, and that's the youth. But before we get into that, where did this all start? Like, tell people Where was your first gym? Tell them what you did for your first gym in your backyard. What'd you do?
All right, first of all, I'm kind of blushing if you saw my cheeks get red when he said a psychopath with weights, because something I'm passionate about. And so very first gym was during COVID, April 2020. I remember I had some weights I bought, about 800 pounds worth of weights on my back deck. It was snowing outside that April. We were locked in the house. I couldn't go to the gym, so I grabbed all my weights in the snow, put them on my porch, was outside in my metatarsal boots, Dickies on, gloves on from the mill, and a thermal very similar to this. So that's where we started at. And, I think just the dog mentality is a huge component in who we've become as a business and as a training business itself. So, we kind of progressed from there. From on the back porch, I saw it and I believed in myself. And, there were times, man, I believe anybody in any field that has acquired or reached any type of success, like, there are those long nights. There are those nights when you cry yourself to sleep and you're like, I'm going back to work for somebody else. It's not the worst thing in the world, but if you got it set in your heart, it's pretty tough to kind of stomach that and humble yourself. And get this. Here's the best part about it. Sometimes even with experiencing a little bit of success, such as what I have so far, I still have those urges to say, man, it was so much easier when you go to work, punch in, punch out, don't have to do any thinking, because you don't work as an entrepreneur. You don't work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You're working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. That's 365 years. You're always wondering, what can I do better? How can I become better at this? How can I treat people better? Was my interaction with such and such the best that it could be? So there are a number of different things that you go over that are outside of just simply providing a service or providing a product as an entrepreneur.
While continuing your lifestyle, because you're a father of 5. You battle your own demons on a consistent basis. All of us came from rougher upbringings, which I think is weird how the universe has a way of connecting everybody who had struggling childhoods and bad youth growing up. It's weird how we all just end up either being friends or working together. It's kind of, the universe speaks to you. I'm a fond believer in that. But what you've been able to accomplish is crazy, because you did it similar to what we did, and that's why I wanted you to have it on here, is because you believed in it, regardless of what people were saying, and then you put yourself in that position, and like you just hit it on the head. Our wives, we always talk about it, our friends, they still don't know what the fuck we do on a day in and day out basis. Like entrepreneurs, it just looks like fun, because obviously I'm not going to take a picture of my desk, swarmed with papers. I'm not going to take a picture of us at 8 o'clock at night, our 1 a.m. on a Zoom discussing payroll, our screaming at each other in a conference room because, we need to make sure that our guys are paid or this was paid or whatever bill. We're not going to show that part. We show the fun stuff. We show the plane flights to whatever conference we're going to. We show the podcast, and people see that. And then I think that they get misunderstood on the whole entrepreneur thing to begin with, because everybody can't be an entrepreneur as much as you want to be one. Like you just said, you got to have a certain type of dog to you. There has to be a certain type of commitment on your end, moving forward, that that the conviction that that what you're doing right now is going to put you on the trajectory that you want to be at.
Well, there's also nothing wrong with
that vision.
That's the other thing. I think people forget that you don't have to be an entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong with being the number 2.
Yeah.
Like there's a job for that, and there's usually less stress with that.
Yeah.
But I want to get into what you built, dude. Tell me.
I wanted to hear,
how
because you guys
where did
know
it
each
go
other.
from the deck? That's the coolest part about this. Let's go there. Like, what'd you build back there?
So it started off, we're on the back porch, and I had this old shed. It was, 11 by, I want to say 11 by 11. Old shed, wooded, rotted out, no ground, no concrete. It was in the backyard of my house. And I had told myself that, I'm going to knock that shed down with my kids during COVID. And what happened, once it got nice enough around May, we went out there, emptied that thing out, and started knocking walls down. We took that thing down from the roof down, all of us. Me, my kids, my wife were out there. We did a huge bonfire with all the wood. It turns out in Valpo you can have bonfires. You can have cooking pits, but not bonfires when you're in the city anyway.
Found that the hard way, huh?
Yeah, I found that out the hard way. They came and shut us down, which, kids were having a blast, which was crazy. We were having a blast. So So we knocked that down by our own hands. I used everything I had left from my 401k from the steel mill. You know, I'm only 30 something, so I didn't have a lot of money in there, but you know, I had about 15,000, which was good enough to get started with that. Took all of that, dumped it into concrete. Okay, so I had a trail of concrete from my driveway all the way to my backyard. Went and bought a $4,000 shed, and by the grace of God, I had friends that had tools. He had every tool that I needed to put together this 11 by 22 foot shed. So I built that thing, and in the process, you know, we got the concrete, so I'm utilizing the concrete and all the weights that I have.
And no job right now.
No job, no money. During the time, you know, they had some kind of a mortgage relief program where they were covering people's mortgages. So everything that we were making was going towards bills. Like we were just buying groceries and paying NIPSCO for gas, water, light, just doing all the basic necessities. You know, we were able to make it through that, but I was still bringing in money and building my clientele. And you know, we talked about it, man. When I think of those days where I'm on the concrete and I'm outside and it's fall, there's leaves everywhere. The weights, you know, are covered by leaves sometimes. Same time, bills need to be paid. At that time too, check this out. So, you know, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're in that transition, don't be ashamed or feel ashamed to have to supplement income. So I took a position bouncing at the time. You know, I'm an experienced fighter, stuff like that. You know, I never planned to beat anybody up or anything like that, but I know I could protect myself, right? And protect other people, because ultimately you're putting yourself in harm's way for other people's safety. And I've always had a thing for protecting other people. So anyways, I took a part-time job bouncing, you know, to kind of make up for some extra money. Meet more people, network, which is awesome because I hand my business card out all the time. I take the best opportunity of everything I got. You know, I make the best of every opportunity, handing out my business cards, meeting people, shaking hands, talking about my gym. Hey, you should come work out. The concrete is busy. We're building the shed. I'm training clients inside of some, you know, at one point in time, we only had 3 walls up and the rafters going across the shed.
You had heating fans in there and stuff like. It was so small.
Not till later.
Pause
though.
it real quick.
Yeah,
so you know, I think you guys know each other, so I think you know more about the story. So basically your passion, your dream is to become a gym owner, like a trainer. A trainer,
coach. Okay. So the point of it, you know, I was in the steel mill 10 years before that. I was an operator. I loved working in the steel mill. I built my life from being a drug addict and being in the streets. I spent a lot of my time in the streets. I have a felony. You know, I came from a rough background, like Elijah's saying. You know, I didn't know anything about keeping a family together. I didn't know anything about a steady, consistent job.
I heard that. We can get into that later. But
yeah.
So you're at the steel mill, right? You come over, you overcome all these things. But while you're there, obviously you get into lifting, right? So I assume you said you were a trainer, so I'm mixed martial arts of some kind. Were you just like, I want to open up my own gym? Like, where was that? When did that come from? Where you're just like, I got to just do what makes me happy opposed to what I have to do to like feed my family.
So it was kind of like I was forced into that position. So I've always wanted to, like when I first started, I always had a hunger. I'd listen to Gary Vee. I'd listen to Andy Frisella, you know, just listen to dogs, like talk about building their lives and being entrepreneurs and being bosses. Ed Milet was another guy I listened to a lot of. And I'd be on my way into the steel mill listening to these podcasts and just giving my all at work. And I always had the idea of having a business where I was able to make money, have freedom. I hated that I'd have to work sometimes 16, 12-hour days. I mean, how ironic, look at us now. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I hated that fact that I had to do that to take care of my family, and I wanted to spend more time with them. You know, when COVID came, that slowed everything down. I worked in kind of like a spring plant. We made the wire for springs. So that's, you know, the bedding industry slowed down because the hotel industry slowed down. I mean, there was just a number of different things that forced me into that position. So I end up getting laid off from my job. And, you know, the hustler in me naturally is like, I got all this free time. What am I going to do? And I'm still getting unemployment at the time before I told them I quit my job. I'm getting unemployment. So I'm taking that. I invested into a t-shirt printing machine. I start upping my online coaching because everybody's very health conscious at this point. Nobody wants to get COVID. Everybody's scared of COVID. Everybody's sick. I never really planned on having a gym. So let's put that out there. I never really planned on having a gym. Never really thought about training people online or in person. Never thought about.
You were doing like meal plans and workout routines.
Yeah,
like
just
that.
online.
Okay.
But then I was like, all right, well, I got these weights and stuff. Let me use them, you know. And at some point in time, I was just letting people come in the backyard to work out. I was like, all right, well, I might as well charge a small fee. So let's charge that small fee. I'm not a membership gym, by the way. I'm a personal training gym. So you have to train with me or one of my trainers in order to come into the gym. Like, I mean, yeah, if you train with us, you could come in.
Except
and
one
work.
day a week. What day a week is that?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yep.
So what do you do on Sundays real quick?
Sunday is family day.
Family
Or
day.
wrestling. Either that or wrestling. My kids are wrestling. My kids are wrestlers.
No,
Or
I'm talking about
football.
the free workout day. What day is that?
Oh, free workout day, Saturdays.
Saturdays. And where's that at?
9 a.m., 10 a.m. It's 1155 Marsh Street in Valparaiso, Indiana, right behind Harley Davidson.
And it's men is 9.
Men is
women
9,
10?
women is at 10.
Okay.
Every
That's
weekend.
badass, dude.
Yep.
He just told you it's an exclusive gym that you have to train with him. However, he's willing to show you what it's all about for 1 hour every week.
What kind of training are you doing in that hour? Let's say I came on this Saturday. Do you post what your Saturday workouts are? Are these like Tabata? Are they, hey, we're just going to go through, like a 5x5? Like, are we doing split stuff?
Usually it's going to be more of a power building type of workout. So you're going to do a lift that's as heavy as you can. Could be 5 reps that day, could be 8. And then we'll go into some bodybuilding work. Same thing is true for the ladies.
I love that.
Yeah, man, that was it at that moment when I was just at home. And what really made me make the decision, right? And this is what pushed me towards entrepreneurship, right? And I don't mean to get grim on anybody here on this podcast or even with you fellas. So my son passed away in May that year of 2020. And I remember shortly after, work calls me back. And at the time, I'm like, I'm going through it. I don't even know what day it was. I didn't know any of this. I had no clue what was going on. At that time, me and you had some communication to which you said, hey, I couldn't even understand. And it's unreal. It's like the worst pain you ever have. And I don't think you wish that pain on your worst enemy. Never wish that pain on your worst enemy. And they called me back. I kind of remain cold when I talk about this situation because I remember how somebody could be so fucking cold towards me during one of the hardest times of my life, probably the hardest time of my life.
I'd probably say that, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest time.
Well, you talked to me
Fuck
after
everything
this
else,
happened.
bro.
Tell me, what did your job say to you when
Well, this is what they tell me, and this is what pushed me to make the decision. Hey, such and such is happening. Everything's picking up. Production's picking up. Blah blah blah. Do you want to come back? To the point where I'm like, hey, that's great to hear and stuff like that. I'm trying to be cool and nice still, and I'm like, and I'm not sure
because they don't know yet.
Well, I thought they didn't know.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure if you guys understand, but this is what's going on in my life. To which he replies, oh, yeah, we heard about it. Okay, so hold the fuck up. I've spent 7 years investing my fucking time, 12, 16-hour days, 8-hour days, working 7 days a week sometimes, and none of you motherfuckers send me a text message, a phone call, some flowers, a card, or nothing. Nobody from work. And he was like, oh, yeah, we know about it. Are you coming back or not? I'm like, fuck you. I ain't fucking going back. And that was it, bro. Like, I'm walking away from $100,000 a year job. This is a great job. I got great benefits, great insurance. I mean, I get discounts all over the country where I go. It's a great fucking opportunity.
For sure.
But I mean, once I feel like I was already in a position to say, fuck you. And the way they responded to me in a situation, especially in a critical time like that, then I was really like, fuck you. Like, there's nothing that you're going to do or say. Like, I've had guys reach out back to me, hey, we're hiring such and such. I was like, oh, if I let anybody know, they're like, nah, we kind of want you to apply. Well, I'm not fucking going back. And that kind of pushed me. And like you said, like we talk about, there's nothing wrong with being a number 2. There isn't. I had a great time working for them. I mean, I made good money and I love to work like a dog. And, that's led to the success in my own business. But when you treat people like that, and I feel like your team and who you have in place is vital to the health of that business and company. Because if you're a piece of shit human resource guy like that guy, then you're going to have a shitty fucking crew.
Dude, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, culture is everything for us. In fact, we have a saying here, and I've told the guys from the beginning, it's culture over profits. Like, we want to be successful. We want to grow our business, of course. But, dude, if you don't have the right people to do that with, then your job is miserable.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing. If there's anything else that we're trying to do here at Romans Roofing is to make sure that you're having a good time while you're at work.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, you
it's gotta
have
be,
to, dude.
It's got to be that way.
Yeah, life is too hard already on people to have to come and work for a fucking tyrant or clock in and out and just hate your job and be extremely miserable. Like, dude, we want to laugh here. We want to smile. We want to have a good time. We want to hang out. I mean, there has to be a certain level of professionalism maintained. Like, we understand that it's still a business, but the people who, growing up our whole lives, like, it doesn't matter if you're happy or not, you got to pay the bills. Just keep working there and eventually you get to fuck that. Yeah. I'm moving past that now. This is a destination spot for sales reps. Roman's Roofing is going to be a spot where people come because they're tired of being worked with bigots and not trained properly and stuff like that. Like, we try to grow this out as a family as best as we can. We know it can't 100% be family all the time. But I feel like if you talk to any of our guys outside of here, they'll tell you they have a great time working here.
So the harsh part of it, yeah, it's still a business, right? But we're firm believers here that it's like, as long as your foundation is your customers and your employees, that they're taken care of, everything else will come. And like I believe that. Like, I'd give up a paycheck because I know as long as they're happy, they're taken care of, it'll all come. And
did.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
But like, it's just, that's how I look at it with everything. I'm coaching my son's basketball team, and that's what I try to tell these 10-year-olds. I was like, when they're all goofing off and want to do their own thing, I was like, you guys can't do it alone. It's not how this works. You have to do it together. But if the team is successful, the individual accolades come. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're the most valuable player and you didn't win the Super Bowl, that's not how that works. It's because you're the greatest athlete. If you don't have people around you, that's how you can't do it. You can't do it alone.
Yeah. And the true payoff is watching them go to that next level because of what you're doing, some type of coaching that you did with them, or some type of training that you did with them, or just investing the time in the person over and over and over. And then all of a sudden that person's like going on and doing crazy things, or like getting bigger in their industry, or doing whatever they're doing. Like our sales reps, we get a guy bought a house, like is struggling for a long time, then he ended up buying a house. Like, that's badass. And that's where the payoff's at. And that's why I feel like you right now are seeing a huge payoff. So, like, tell us how you transition into your own gym. But then I think you did such a badass move, dude, that nobody saw coming, including, I mean, probably even you, but myself. But like, bro, when I saw you training with the high school football team, the state champion, by the way, Valparaiso high school football team. But when I saw you working with them, I knew it was game over, dude. There's no fucking, I mean, when you start producing on a level with a town that's obsessed with the youth, that's obsessed with the sport programs, and I see your daughter wrestling, slamming motherfuckers, like, it's dude, it's stuff like that, man. It gets me so excited for you, because that's the way to touch the soul of every human, because the most beautiful creatures on earth are children and dogs. You know what I'm saying? So like, watching a child develop and take those lessons and go on to do great things, or watching these athletes, like, I forget the kid's name, Sam Murda, is that how you pronounce his last name?
Thomas Berta.
Thomas Berta. And there's another Sam there. It's a monster too, right? Yeah. I watched those. So I'm saying, like, I watched that shit, dude. Like, I followed along, and I'm seeing this.
So how'd you get there?
This kid came there, little husky kid. And dude, he is just a freak beast. If he's listening, bro, you are a freak beast. Yeah, he is. I watch those kids do the things. Yeah, he needs to, dude. Like,
so how did you get to that point?
We're rooting for you.
So listen to this. So it's a struggling business. I'm struggling. I'm not making any money. Like I said, I'm just paying bills. I'm like, fuck, what are we gonna do when I have to pay mortgage, right? So anyways, I talked to my business coach, Dr. Joe Klimczewski. The dude is a saint. Like, if anybody knows anything about personal training and nutrition coaching, it is that man. He has a PhD. I mean, he sacrificed, completely flipped his life around.
Shout out to Joe.
Yeah. Shout out to Joe, man. We love you. Completely flipped his life around, and the guy's always been in my corner. So I tell him, hey, Doc, I'm not making any money, man. Like, I'm posting on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm reaching out to people. He's like, his response is this, and I'll never forget it, ever. If I ever struggle in my life, I know where to refer back to. How many hands have you shaken? Physically. How many hands have you shaken? And at that point, I was like, not many. He's like, well, I'll tell you what. Go out and shake some hands. Go out, meet some business owners, drop your card off. Let people know who you are. You ain't got to sell them shit. Go out and let people know who you are. So I go into this spot, Island Nutrition, about 2 minutes from my gym, right off of Route 30 by the Dunkin' Donuts on Route 30. All right, check it out, Valparaiso, Indiana. Island Nutrition. I go in there, I meet this guy named Scott. Scott's the owner. We talk, we bullshit just a little bit. He's a small business owner like myself, and I tell him, here's my card. This is what I do. I have a little concrete slab. and I have weights back there. He tells me his stepson's on the football team. I'm like, okay, cool. So we kind of make that connection. You know, it was like a week or two later, he messages me. He's like, hey, Jesse, this is Scott. I own Island Nutrition. He came in and talked to me, and they just closed the weight room at Valparaiso High School because of COVID. Can some of my young athletes, some of the athletes that train with my stepson and my stepson, come and work out in your backyard? And I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I'm like, all right, you know, I start off with just, you know, all right, just a small fee. Then it got to a point when I saw that these kids were hungry. I mean, who works out when they don't have to? You know, not a lot of people do. And, you know, we're going to go back to talking about that with that dog mentality because he had mentioned it before. But I saw this and I tell this kid, I said, hey, listen, I'm going to train you and I don't want nothing. I said, you're going to come and see me 4 days a week. You're going to follow what I say for nutrition. You're going to do whatever training I have you doing here and just play your heart out on the football field. That's all I ask. Represent me well.
These are what, 15-year-old kids? 16?
This kid at the time was 16, turning 17, and then, you know, he rocked with me for about a whole 2 years before he went off to college.
Yeah,
so
but
he
you're
was
talking about kids. Some of them can't even drive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was, I think he was getting driven there at one point in time, and then he got himself a car. So yeah, a kid. So when this kid has this level of discipline and just dog in him, like those are the kinds of kids and athletes and men and women that I want around me. So when you talk about the culture, like the culture is vital to the success. Like if you manifest the culture, so part of our culture and part of what we do is when we bring somebody on, when somebody says, hey, I want to get into weight training, athletic training and stuff like that, we're like, okay, cool. Why don't you come through? We'll schedule a consultation. I mean, you pay for your first session. Now we've leveled up to that point. You know, it was at one point in time we're just, hey, just come meet us for free, come work out for free, and then you could decide if you want to train or not. Now it's at a point where, all right, you sign up for your consultation, you come in, and now we're at the liberty of saying, maybe you should go work around, you know, maybe find another trainer. I don't know about any other trainers in Valpo, by the way. Like, that's how I feel, and that's how I feel like everybody should feel about their business. And I don't mean to be stingy. I know there's enough money out there, but I'm not going to send you anywhere. Right? I'm like the best. So anyways, not cockiness, by the way.
We'll touch on that real quick, though. So, like, when you said not cocky, it's not about being cocky. And we always say this, too, and it's a true statement, dude. Like, our prices and your prices are not based off of someone else's budget. It's based off the craftsmanship. So if you want the best or you want the most talented or you want the people who do the job the right way, then you want us. If you don't want that, then you don't want us. It doesn't matter what you can afford.
Right.
And me and you have had that conversation personally.
Right.
I've thrown that excuse at you, and we've talked about that too.
Yeah, you got the money.
Yeah. We've talked about that too. Like me and you on your post, because there's nothing more fucking annoying than a friend calling you. Because here's the thing: if your friends want to actually contribute to your business, if they want to, they're going to leave you a 5-star rating, and they're going to spend the full amount on it. They're gonna pay the full price for your services. That's how they can contribute back to you. The ones that call you and ask you for a discount, a break, can you do this for me? Hey man, you know, can you do? Fuck you, dude. Like, I'm starting this up ground zero. You guys are supposed to be clapping and supporting me. Like, what do you mean? Can you help me? Not gonna help you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just want to touch base.
No.
I mean, you don't got to justify your
no.
pricing, man. It's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean. So you come in after you pay your consultation, we take you through a session, and if we decide that you're not dog material, like, we're going to push you to your limits. We're fucking pushing you. That's how we make everybody better. We don't bring guys in and I don't care if you're a young athlete. I don't care if you're a 6-year-old man. I don't care if you're a 6-year-old woman. Everybody gets pushed. It's just our culture. It's what we do. You're not going to come to my gym in my facility that I pay a mortgage for, use my weights on, and tell me you're not going to do something. All right, then you could go home. I could understand, you know, there are things to take into consideration when you're in this profession. Oh, is somebody legitimately hurt? If you're legitimately hurt, I will take care of you. I love everybody. I take care of everybody that's in. If you're in my presence, you're in my protection, right? Like, I take care of anybody that's with me. Anybody that's watching this could tell you. I mean, from you're talking about the youngest kid to some of my oldest dogs. So we interview you. If you're not good enough, you don't train with us. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry that you just don't fit the culture, because, you know, I've had kids that come in and, you know, they talk this big game and they want to be animals, but you ask them to do some split squats, and once the burning stops, they don't want to work, or starts, they don't want to work out anymore. And then that's when I learned to eliminate and pick my clientele. So back to where we started at, and Aiden was one of those kids. Like, I would push this kid. I remember I pushed this kid so hard, and I'm learning, by the way, about athletic training. I didn't know shit about athletic training. Never thought about training athletes or older people or younger kids at all. It was all about like bodybuilders and bikini females. Like, I'm a bodybuilder myself, IPE professional. Like, this is what I do, nutrition and training, and like, I'm just intense. So I didn't know anything about athletic training. I'm learning. As I'm learning, I'm putting this kid through some of the trial and error stuff, and obviously we were being safe and we were monitoring things. So I remember this kid was such a dog. It was game day or the day before a game. This is, mind you, I didn't know anything about the athletic training. I put this kid through a 5x2 squat with superset with some jumps. But he's squatting 365 pounds twice, 5 sets of 2, following up with a jump. Well, this kid was doing 3 a days. So he'd come see me at 5:30 in the morning, go to school, work out again, and then go to school and go to football practice. Well, this kid was not hydrated. He was on a lot of caffeine, which I knew nothing about. So he's leaving that day and he's like, man, my head is pounding. I don't know how to feel. And I'm like, hey, listen, just get home. Call me when you get home. So I call his mom. I'm talking to her. Hey, such and such is on his way home. Can you make sure that you keep an eye on him? So this kid would end up working so hard and pushing him so hard while he was dehydrated. He ends up in the hospital. He was dehydrated. Well, we found that out, obviously. So it was ever since then, that's what got me there. And then seeing the results that kid had, a lot of his teammates, a lot of his friends, where are you training at? What are you doing? And that's how I ended up getting so many football players, right? When I started getting football players, I really realized that I like training with football players. There's the top athletes I like working with, football players, wrestlers. I love working with wrestlers. My kids are wrestlers. My son's a football player. I love working with lacrosse. Lacrosse, I mean, they're animals too. Like, you don't think because you hear the name, you're like, lacrosse? I've seen lacrosse, and lacrosse, I got some dogs that play for college, and they're fucking animals, right? I even got a girl that plays lacrosse in college. She's a fucking beast.
And you have one too that actually I only follow the ones that I see always in the post. Like, there's a girl that with the soccer team that's constantly works out with you guys.
Oh,
Addie. Okay, so I've seen her in plenty of videos of her doing her thing, and then and her growth's crazy too. Like, dude, these kids, like, I watch them. Like, they come in there. And then you watch where they're at now, and it's like night and day. Some of these kids, like, literally, that one, the one I was talking about, dude, he's a freak beast. Like, they're freak
Thomas
beast.
Berta,
yeah, he is. He came in there pudgy and soft, and he left on a mission. That man will just fuck shit up now. Like, it's awesome watching.
That's amazing.
I got a video of this kid playing Lake Central. He runs up the middle, knocks their linebacker down, runs up, hits out their safety in their corners, and these guys are holding on to him, and he runs into the end zone. Fucking nuts. The kid's a monster, bro. But yeah, getting kids like that, like in that process, too, like, a lot of people think it's a lot of fucking do this, and I'm not in their faces. I'm not. Like, it's not that type of relationship. Like, you see that on Instagram, on YouTube, and all these other things, but it's not like that. It's like this. Hey, what's going on at home? What are your goals? Like, just a casual conversation. Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, this is what I need from you. And when you're in here, I don't expect nothing less. Sometimes I'll yell. Like, if you're under the bar, I'm going to yell, come on, get that shit up, But when it's, like, not happening, bro, it's like, it's very simple. I think it's the way you connect with people and you demand the best for them because they're demanding the best for themselves. You can't tell me you want to gain or you want to drop some points off your 40 and not be willing to be a dog. Because then guess what I'm going to say? Well, I guess you're just not going to reach the goal that you wanted, and there's no purpose of you being here.
Well, they're learning at a young age. There's one thing to say you want to do something, then there's another thing to actually do it.
Well, implement the discipline that's required and be uncomfortable for a short period of time to gain said result.
Yeah.
We tell our guys I tell my guys all the time that I can't care more about your life than you do.
Man, that's it. That's
insane. That's I literally tell them, like, that's insane. Me giving a shit about where you end up more than you do is absolutely mind blowing. And we have the same approach. That's why I wanted to get you on here, because at Roman's Roofing, that's our whole approach to it too. Is like, we want to build lives up, and then we want to do roofing and siding on the side.
Yeah,
like,
I love that. Well, I mean, you said it, and I say it the same way. I can't care about your goals more than you care about your goals. If you do, then we got a problem.
Yep.
You know, I believe as the leaders in your profession or in your office, there should be probably an exceptional amount of passion and drive to do better. But I think that anybody that's coming up underneath you or anybody that works alongside you guys, that passion should be contagious, right? And that's why I think, you know, my culture is so important. And me doing what I do, you know, I also power lift. Bro, I challenged myself. I 48-inch box jump not too long ago. I mean, like, I do crazy shit too. You know, I'm running with these kids. I'm playing football sometimes I'm wrestling with these kids. I'm 35.
Right now? Okay.
I'll be 36 in February. But yeah, that's been a big part of the culture is walking the walk. You know, my trainers, Preston and Mason, they're the same way. Like, they come in every morning, work out. They were both star football players for the football team. And now they're monsters, and my guys are going to listen to them because you're not telling me to do something that you wouldn't do. And I feel like that's very important. Like, you guys would get on a roof, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important.
Within reason.
No, so it's funny, and to talk about what that is so prior to getting, so I was you at the steel mill before I got into this. I was at the railroad, so I'm all about, I had no issue. I was there for 3 years. I like doing hard work. I was a laborer there, right? But prior to that, I'd been in food and beverage, right? I was a bartender, server, that type of thing. One of the managers that got promoted, she was a server, but she never bartended. I was bartending once, and she came back there, and I kind of looked at her, and I was like, what are you doing? Because, like, why are you just hanging out here? You know, she had just never been a supervisor. Well, she says to me, I can't really reprimand you or tell you what to do if I don't even, if I've never done it. So I'm trying to just learn what you do. She was in the same position as me, but she had enough wherewithal and mindset to just go out and say, hey, how can I tell someone to do something if I've never done it? And so that's stuck with me since then, and that's what we kind of believe in here is I've never asked anybody here to do something that I haven't done or I wouldn't be willing to do. Sometimes they look at you kind of like side-eye, but there's not a response back to that. Like, hey, dude, I did it. I'm telling you to do it because either it had success in it, it's backed by something. I'm just not making this shit up.
Right.
And most of the people who are in ownership here, the ones that are partners at least, with the exception of a couple of us, have done this, ground level up. I literally did this ground level up. I started as a canvasser. I worked my way into sales. I moved from sales to a team lead, from a team lead to a sales manager, from a sales manager to a director of sales, from director of sales to owning a business. Like, I literally did all of it. I even got my public adjuster's license along the way. So, like, I've done even that side of it as well. So, same thing. Like, when we talk to our guys, like, you have to carry a certain passion, too, to take it up to the next level. Because, like you said, not everybody's going to be the animal that you're looking for. It's not to say they can't be successful. They're just not going to eat at your table. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope you feast. It's just not going to be in my home. Like, and that's the way we look at it, too. It's just like, guys, some of you guys want to put up mediocre numbers, but every year you're supposed to get better and you're competing against yourself. Well, if that's the case, and we're sitting at almost $15 million right now in the year, you got to get better.
Yeah.
It means you have to take one hell of a year and turn it into something better next year. And we're always going to have to push and challenge ourselves. So the strongest thing is like people who look outside of just you. They can't just rely on you. I'm sure you tell your guys too, don't get all the information from just you. You'd be putting all your eggs in one basket. Do some shit on your own. Go learn. Go watch some other people that are out there doing the same things that you want to do, like real people, take in what you're seeing and stuff like that. So where are you at now with the gym? And then kind of you're obviously getting well known. I mean, you had what's his name? CT Fletcher out here commanding people to grow. So how did that go? Like, how did you get them, for one? And for two, where are you at now? Like, how big is your gym now, and how many people are you working with now?
So we have a space that is about 4,000 square foot of space. So we share that with other trainers, where there's another personal training business in the building, but we all use the same space. So it's 4,000 square foot of shared space. Not to mention in the summer, spring, and fall, when it's warm enough to be outside, we'll be outside. There's a lot of grass out there. We like to do stuff in the parking lot as far as sprinting, speed training, and stuff like that. Phenomenal space. I work with some other great trainers there. That really just came, taking risk after risk. There was one session where we had like 8 guys in 11 by 22 foot shed. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's time to level up and go ahead and rent a place. So then I go to rent a place and then, we got too big for that place. And then I go to rent another place, and right now is where we're at. So we've moved twice since then. It's been phenomenal. And we're honestly really like, we should move again because we need more space. But it's kind of like, all right, let's kind of see what's going on and when we're ready to move. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when at this point, because we are going to get bigger. I mean, I need more turf space. I mean, I kind of want to make it to where it's almost like a membership type of deal, but an exclusive. Like, you're not going to come in and fucking take Instagram photos and Snapchats and use a Smith machine. You're going to come in and you're going to follow the plan that I put together, and you're going to be a fucking dog about it. And if I happen to look on a camera and you're fucking off, then you're going to get booted out of the gym. Like, it's going to be one of those.
I'm going to assume you've heard of West Side Barbell.
Yeah.
So
Louis Simmons and them.
That's
yeah.
right. So that's the vibe I'm getting from hearing your story, that it's nothing's wrong with using a Smith machine. Nothing's wrong if you want to take your Instagram and your Snapchats and half-ass it. That's just not what you're doing.
Right, exactly.
So you're bringing this culture of straight up like, you have to have a purpose to be here.
Yeah. If you're not in here and you're not challenging yourself or trying to become a little bit better, guess what? I could probably bet that you're probably not doing that in any other area of your life.
Hey, how you do anything is how you do everything.
That's
right?
it, brother.
So,
and that's a huge philosophy for us too. If I see you in here, if I hear about you being a shitty human at home, chances are you're probably going to be a shitty human in my gym, and I don't want that here because that's part of the culture. But yeah, no, that's pretty much what we have. Is like, if you're not here with a purpose, and if you're not in here to actually do something, then see ya. So we have an exclusive men's group, 6:30 in the morning. Guess what? I don't ask these guys for nothing. This is my workout time. You come in, you work out next to me, and I'll put them on plans too. Like, they're all together on their own plans, and they're doing stuff. There's very seldomly I'll get somebody that'll be crazy enough to want to train how I train, which is cool when I do. I got a guy right now. He just was a semi-pro baseball player. He's coming in. His name's Caleb Rush. He's a dog, bro. He's just hungry. He wants to get better, and lifting is just one of those areas where he could push himself, and he comes and does it with me. So
I remember when we first worked out too, when we hit chest day together. Very first time I ever lifted with him was at Anytime Fitness. I remember we stack up 135 on the bench. I'm like laughing at him and shit. And you just crack that out for a quick 50. That's the warm up. 50 reps, 135 on the bench, and then he starts stacking weight on there. Like, all right, let's go. We climb together. I mean, we climbed to 350, I think, that day, and you're just cracking them out, doing full sets, and then climbing back down. Like, it was intense, man. I was like burning up already, and then we're going over to dumbbells. You're doing incline, and it's like grab ones you could hit big sets with. And we're doing 100-pound incline press, 15 reps, 100-pound dumbbells each arm, and you're just cracking them out, and then you're moving on to the next one. You're like, dude, just slow your ass down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
That's it. Yeah. And then CT Fletcher, the thing with CT Fletcher is I would watch CT Fletcher all the time, man. That's how I really got into like that intense, like, I could be fucking crazy in the gym. Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah. Well, I saw his son had post something on Instagram, and I was like, could we get you guys out to our gym for a grand opening? And I really thought that I might have got scammed because I got a message back from him, and it was like, oh, yeah, for sure, brother. And I was like, I don't know, man. Maybe this is a fake page. So I was like, hey, can I talk to you guys on the phone? Like, I want to make sure, then I get CT Fletcher on the phone. So he's been out here. I picked him up personally from my car in O'Hare, right? Cool ass guy, man. Like, I mean, he's a down to earth man, and you talk about family and all that good shit. Like, that's CT Fletcher, man. Like, he's a good dude.
He brought a dog with him too. Who else
Yeah. So he brought several dogs with him. So he brought TD Smash, which was one of the biggest benchers in the world at the time. He brought out Midwest Kong, which
Kong.
That man got a freak. That man got a 225 record for 81 reps. He PR'd in my gym at 81 reps. Packed gym, fucking nuts. The place is nuts, right? Hopefully we'll put my Instagram, Luke.
That's amazing, dude. CT Fletcher's the man too. Like, I think everybody starts watching him with the random selection.
Yeah, I am the one.
Oh, dude, I command you to grow.
Yeah, I command you to grow. Yeah. We did a fight that day that he was there. So he hung out with us. We went and had breakfast. Said, guys, cool as shit, man. Cool as shit. Go back to the gym and you show up and there's all these fucking gorillas in the gym, bro.
That's sick, dude.
Like, I'm like, yo, these dudes are huge. Like, I like to think of myself as somewhat of a bigger guy. Nah, bro, I'm looking up at these guys. I'm like, yo, TD Smash. This man benches 500 3 times sitting in my bench. And I'm like, wow. And then Midwest Kong, 225 81 times. And then CT Fletcher, I mean, that man's just a legend himself, and some of the things that he's done. And, he's sitting there and he's like, all right, I squatted for my first time in my life, squatted 600 pounds that day. The energy was electric in there. Everything was fucking nuts. Everything was crazy. So I squatted 600 pounds that day. And then he calls the 5-minute squat challenge, which all right, at this time, I'm done, bro. I had just had 600 pounds on my back. I'm like, I'm done. The goal that day was 575, but I hit that 575. We were bullshitting on the way up here from Chicago. And I tell him, I said, hey, man, I said, if I squat 575, I'm going to put you through a workout. He said, just you squat 575, I'll fucking gladly go through a workout. I'm like, all right, for sure. So we put 575 on. I smoked it, bro. And then one of the guys that was with him comes up to me. He's like, you got more. And I'm sitting there. I'm taking the wraps off of my knees, and I'm like, put 600 on it. Get up, bro. And I just take some pre. I'm like, let's go. So anyways, after that, they do the squat challenge. My daughter participates 5 minutes. There's another girl. So we also had friends and family here. Well, we also had friends here from West Virginia. Another gym owner, Steve Dodd. We love you, man. So Steve Dodd and his team was here. We had Claire. We had one of my boxers, Victor Lemus. He did 135 pounds for like 2.5 minutes straight. We had quite a few people jump in on that challenge, man. The ladies, we took it down to 95 for 5 minutes straight. There was one girl that did it, Claire. She's an animal, but hey, that place was electric, bro. Just having all those people in there. But I feel like that's that passion and that culture just manifesting. Because if you get a bunch of dogs in there at once, like it's just dog shit going on.
Did you just out of sheer curiosity, like did they pay for this? Did you pay for
no,
this?
No, I paid to have them out. I paid to have them out. I paid for their flight. I paid for their hotel room.
Nice.
All of that stuff.
Nice.
You know, so it was a blessing to be able to put myself in that position to be able to do that, bro.
100%.
I'm like, hell yeah, I'll pay that shit. Because they told me the price. I'm like, shit, that ain't nothing. Like, you know how many people are going to be in my gym? Like, you think about the return on investment. And I think that was huge with getting us noticed, especially moving into a new facility. Like, we had so many, you know, those are big dogs. TD Smash is a big dog. You know, Midwest Kong is big on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those people are monsters. So when they came to my place, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna pay that. I don't give a fuck what it costs. I'll take some money out if I got to. I'll take a loan out. But I think that's the mentality, man.
We believe in that too. So when you want to get better, you invest in people who are doing big shit. And CT Fletcher is definitely one of the guys you invest into as a gym. So we flew a dude out here, Deshaun Bryant from Roof Hustlers, and he's a door-to-door salesman, but he teaches more along the lines of, not only does this dude still knocks every weekend. But not only that, but he teaches the psychology behind door knocking and behind door-to-door sales. So, like, we bring him in here to work with the team and stuff and do just a weekend that he's out here. You make up for it in contracts because he goes out with the team for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you make up all the money you spend on him anyway. But, yes, 20 grand to get him out here, dude. 15, 20 grand. We got another guy we're paying 15, 20 grand to come out this year. So we're dumping 30 in just 2 people to come and train the team because we believe in that shit too.
Yeah.
Like, it's... You know, you got to put in the work, but not only that, but there's a level that you have to admit sometimes that you may not be at. Like in your situation, like, all right, I want to make this a huge grand opening. How do I do this? You went out and you found dogs, you know, that we're in the same boat. Like, how do we kick off a good training session and a good orientation to fire up people, to get them ready to come out in this year? We want them motivated, all that shit. So we went and we looked for some people that we already had a relationship with. So, man, dude, that's awesome. We're like on the... That's why I had him on here, because I told you he's awesome. Like we have the same trajectory, just different career paths, but it's the same. Same
different
story.
industries, but it's all relative, and it's so like-minded. Like, I love that. I love meeting new people. I love talking to someone that has, like, I didn't know about your past, so like, I'm a morbid dude, but like, yeah, grew up poor, all that shit, and like you don't let that shit define you. You can overcome it, right?
We were really excited when I told these guys. I said, hey, I want to get Jesse on here because he's doing some things around the community that's huge. He's doing things with the youth, which we believe in. We also believe in giving back. You're one of the people that's giving back into the community, so we wanted to put the spotlight on that so you could share your story with people, kind of let them know like what you're doing, what types of things that you got going on.
Before you say anything else, Elijah, real quick, because I know we're trying to keep them whatever, but go talk about the youth stuff you've been doing real quick.
So real quick, so part of my youth program, you know, on top of training the athletes and some of the guys that are dogs for the high school, you go in the community. So I remember, and this is what sparked it. I was at a wrestling meet. I saw one of my clients was wrestling. So I go to this wrestling meet, and we're in, I think it's Boone Grove High School in Valparaiso. And there's some kids there from Westside High School in Gary. Well, they had amongst like 3 of them, there was one pair of wrestling shoes that all of these kids were wrestling with. Bro, when I saw that, I said something got to be done. So I started this 1023, and I've been really hesitant on pulling the trigger on it. I've already started. I've filed the text documentation. It's just a matter of marketing and actually taking a step. And I feel like, I'm in a good place now to actually say, all right, I'm going to put somebody in place here, and I'm going to go train kids in Gary for free. Well, not for free. Obviously, somebody's going to fund that in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I do is I go out. And, I'll go to Gary and I'll say, hey, I want to take your football team through a workout for an hour and a half. What do you want? Nothing. I just want their attention. I want them to think, or know that somebody cares about them. Because, kids like us that come up with nothing, guess what? If somebody came into my high school or if somebody came in and was like, hey, I know you ain't got nothing to give me. Obviously, you think like, what's in it for them, right? But at the end of the day, you go in there, man, and that kid, you're going to find maybe 1 out of 30 kids. And I'm just throwing some bullshit numbers out there, but you get 1 out of 30 kids, and this kid goes home that night and thinks about it all night and is like, I'm going to do my best in school. I'm going to lift weights. You just changed one kid's life forever. And that's me lowballing it because a lot of times in situations like that, you impact these kids on a much deeper level. And that's huge, man. Coming up as somebody I was in the gangs, I was in drugs. I end up with a felony at 20 years old, facing 20 years in prison. Like, that's huge for me. That's huge for me. See my brothers, some of my brothers, are not doing well. My sister, I got a brother that didn't make it past 21. Things like that. So it's huge that I invest in my current clientele, my current customers and clients that work with me on a fully professional and loving level. And that's what I do with my youth athletes.
No, I love that, man. Like
and going out in the community, that's huge, man. It's just a matter of time before we have a location. And there's a lot going on in Gary, and I'm really looking at Gary. Looking at the south side of Chicago or going out there, maybe even partnering with YMCA or Boys and Girls Club or something. But that's a huge part of what I do.
And we saw on Facebook too, like the feeding them and stuff like that. Like I saw some people will drop off, like you got a TV donated to you by the gym, which was awesome. And then there was some other people that were donating some stuff. Like, do kids come there and they?
So yeah. So sometimes the kids will come there. Some kids, they don't have anything to eat after school, so they'll come there, and I don't have a lot, but I'll have Rice Krispie treats there. I'll have protein bars. I just had 11 cases of water donated to me last week. I had like 6 boxes of Rice Krispie treats donated to the gym last week. The TV, we got the TV in there, so we got some little guys that come in, and their parents, like, we're not a daycare or anything like that, but if the kid finishes up early, I say, hey, grab a Rice Krispie treat, turn on some football, watch some TV. It's a safe place for the kids, and I love it.
I love it. Like, Elijah knows me better than most people. Like, you're pulling at my heartstrings, man. Like I said, like, I was the kid, because I was that kid. I was the poor kid. I was the kid that had to do fundraisers and raffle tickets just to be able to play the sport. I didn't have the nice shoes. There's a plethora of things we could go down again. Elijah knows, we went to, shout out St. Laborious. Like, I got Christmas presents because other people did that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So my whole passion and my focus outside of our business that we run together with, our other partners, shout out to those guys, is just because I have it now doesn't mean I'm not going to give back. Like, we're at least can say on the same page with, I'm never going to forget where I came from.
Right. Never.
And so giving trees, if it's any type of donation stuff, like my wife, she's a nurse, she has her doctorate now. So shout out to my wife for that. But she is all about the same thing. So like we want to give back. There's never been well, Angelo, if we had $100 left in the account, I'm like, hey, we're going to donate 20.
Yeah.
She ain't blinking an eye. But you have to have people like that, like-minded people like yourself, Elijah, my wife, obviously his wife, I'm assuming your wife too, that see that same thing and like they understand how important that is to you.
Yeah.
Because, it costs money to try to help other people. And I like I said, I tell them all the time, man, like I will never not do it. I'm all about it. So like, I love that you do that, man. Like I truly mean that. Like, and thank you for doing that. Cause like, that's the shit, bro.
I love
like,
to do it too. Yeah. I love to do it too.
Yeah.
Another thing too, that brought me to it is, I remember as a young man, in neighborhoods or homes like that, I was abused. My stepdad was my bully. Right. It was just something you think about like that. Well, a lot of these kids, they don't get that love or that affirmation from strong men in their life. So when these kids are in my gym, I always let them know. And I put a little emphasis on it. Like, is somebody messing with you? You know, like stuff like, because I'm legit, bro. Like, I don't want to hear about somebody doing, because I'm the type of guy and I'll address the situation. If somebody you know and somebody you know, and I think that's what I'm kind of like, people know me for, is I don't fucking hold back. You know, I want to protect everybody in my, so one of the reasons why we ended up moving into the facility we're in now is because we were in this work area, right? And one of the guys in the hallway, you know, he shared a space with us. Well, he had told one of my younger guys, hey, get the fuck out of my way. To which I responded, who the fuck are you talking to? And walked up on him. You're not going to talk to any of these kids that are in my care like that, right? I feel like men like me, like, we are the big, strong protectors. We're the reason why some kids and some people don't get fucked with.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, that's a part of my culture too, where I let these kids know, hey, you're extremely loved, dude. You know, because I was that kid that go home and get punched in the fucking chest, you know, or called a little bitch. Like, that was how I grew up. So I don't want anybody, you know, especially my own kids or anybody else around me, to feel like that. I don't give a fuck if there's any men around me. I don't care, feminine men, whatever. Anybody that's around me, I want them to feel like they're safe or protected.
But that goes to say how much of a man you are. And I think this whole, everyone keeps like showing online, all this alpha bullshit.
Oh, yeah, bullshit.
No one taught. No, if you're a good man, if you stand up for what's right and you have like actual, you know, morals and ethics, you don't call yourself an alpha. You don't talk shit to some kid that's walking past you or accidentally in your way. So like, again, kudos to you for just being, you know, the man that you are today. And it just goes to show, you know, for anyone that's out there, like, and you're doing this also in our backyard. And I think that's just,
yeah.
I know we have to wrap this up. And we finally got to this part that we would, dude, I could live it. We had to bring you back for sure. Cause like, I would love to talk more about that, because I don't think enough people talk about how they were raised. And that's one thing Elijah and I have gotten better about opening up about. Yeah. And you were just saying just now, you know, my stepdad was my bully. I got hit, you know, this type of shit. Like, it's so profound and so useful to other people to hear that, because there's so many people that keep it in. Yeah,
it resonates, but we do have to wrap it up, unfortunately.
It's good meeting. Yeah, we'll come back.
But we did want to say, though, that we are very proud of you, proud of Bold Strength. On a friendship level, I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you too, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But we went ahead and we got you a gift card for your gym to use to stock up some shit for those kids. We also donated, we're going to give you, when you leave here, 5 cases of Gatorade.
It's 8.
I'm sorry, 8 cases of Gatorade as well, on behalf of Romans Roofing and Roof Trollz. You know, we want to see you keep doing your thing, so we want to make sure we contribute.
Hell yeah,
as well.
bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'll let the guys know at the gym.
Yep, 100%, man. All right.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. Dude, you guys are awesome.
Our pleasure.
Guys, and
we look forward to seeing you again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for coming on the podcast, and
we'll have some more fun. Hey, drop any questions you got, because we're going to do another episode. Drop some questions.
Yeah, please get interactive. Also, while I have you on there, we haven't done this on any episode. It's been 12 episodes. Sorry, guys. I got to do it. If you guys could leave us a 5-star review on Google, our Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we would appreciate it. Leave some type of review.
Yeah, wherever you're listening at.
Yeah, wherever you're listening at, or even on YouTube, which we need more following as well. So either way it goes, guys, see you on the next one.